Hey there everybody, Mazarok here, and today I was able to test out some Dragonflight talents in the PTR. I don't have beta yet, unfortunately. I seem to be one of the crazy unlucky few that doesn't have it. If a Blizzard dev is watching this, please, you have no idea how much I would love beta access, please. But for now, we have the PTR, and that will have to do. So I was testing out Protection Warrior. In PTR, I went into a Halls of Atonement, only Heroic, unfortunately. Mythic wasn't working. None of the add-ons were working as well, so it was pretty much base UI, although I was able to copy over my keybinds. But I was able to test out quite a few talents. And I gotta say, I'm having a lot of fun, and I want to go over those. So, first, before we start, please like, comment, subscribe. As of recording this, we're like 4 subs away from 3,400. Flabbergasted, guys. As always, thank you so much, everybody, for all the support. There's a Discord link down below if you wish to join. I have any questions about Prot Warrior and Dragonflight, or in current level of Shadowlands, or any of the other tanks. There is a fantastic community of people there that I am just always grateful that are around and in my life. So thank you, everyone there. There's a Twitch link down below and a Patreon link down below if you wish to support me directly. So when I went into the Dragonflight PTR, kind of whatever, Shadowlands, beta, whatever you want to call it, I opted, because I've been wanting to do this for a while, to test out a more bleed-based Protection Warrior build. So I chose Thunderous Roar with the 2 talents below it, making it a minute and increasing the rend damage. Now, unfortunately, none of my add-ons were working, so I couldn't really see the damage breakdown of what was going on, but I was really after the feel. Did it feel like there was button bloat or clunkiness or anything like that? And I can honestly tell you, no. It did not feel clunky at all. It did not feel like there was button bloat. It does feel like there's extra buttons, yes, but they all work in super synergetically with one another. And it's a lot of fun. I felt incredibly tanky. I felt like I was doing a lot of damage. The mobs were dying fairly quickly, but it was also heroic, so it's a difficult judgment of stuff. But I really did feel the having access to impending victory and the 10% leech whenever I drop. You hit a couple ignore pains, and I just see my health just go right back up with the combination of leech and indomitable fortitude. It just felt really good, and it also felt really, really good to just spread a bunch of rends around with blood and thunder. And honestly, I'm really liking where this bleed-based kind of Prot Warrior is going, but at the same time, I also feel like it's customizable. Going through the dungeon, I felt like I could customize my talents to what I want to see happen. Do I want more bleed damage? Do I want more revenge damage? Do I want to hit Thunderclap more? And I honestly felt the potential of what could be done to customize Prot Warrior to have an insanely fun playstyle for you. Do you want more bleeds? Less bleeds? Do you want more Thunderclaps? More revenges? It just felt really, really good. The adding of the new talents, and I know we're getting a rework to Prot Warrior next week, but I did want to cover this now because we're going to see how things change. But it just felt fun. Like, it was super fun. And the option to take a big shockwave and being a much bigger shockwave that deals a lot more damage feels good, but I think that's still a little clunky. Because, if it deals enough damage where you want to use it as a damage CD, having to hold it for certain stuff is going to feel bad. So I'm still very, very iffy on... Just make Shockwave not as powerful with all the abilities and just put it up the tree. Seriously, honestly, it's really not that bad. Another thing that I wanted to cover is Sidearm has been put into the Dragonflight talent tree, which is just basically your auto attacks have a chance to, throw a weapon at someone, and it felt good. I seen the animation for it. It happened randomly, but it felt really, really good to just have it. And it's just fun. But the new addition is the new Heroic Leap Grip, Wrenching Impact. So you can spec into this. It is a talent choice node between Bounding Stride and Wrenching Impact. And what Wrenching Impact does is where you land, it will pull 4 mobs to your location. So it's a mini Gorfine's Grasp and is honestly a lot of fun to play around. There is some anti-synergies with it though, because usually you want to charge into battle to gain some sort of rage to start off, you know, your pull, because you don't want to start off the pull with no rage. So heroic leaping in and pulling things in is something that you might not want to do the first pull of the dungeon, but as you're chaining pulls, you can turn around heroic leap into a mob, put everything right there while you still have shield block and rage going. So that is really, really fun, and in all honesty, I do see quite a bit of uses for it. Now, it is unfortunate that they nerfed the cooldown on this. On PTR, it's still 45 seconds, but if I'm not mistaken, they put it up to 1.5 minutes. And this I have a little bit of a gripe with, because if we're going to compare this to a similar ability, Gorfine's Grasp for Blood Decays, it's not even on the same level, right? Gorfine's Grasp literally gets every mob that can be pulled in and puts them all on one pinpoint target location. Every single one. And puts them exactly on the target that you want them to be put on. And this is a very powerful ability. I think if I'm not mistaken, the cooldown's like 2 minutes, but it's that powerful. So 1.5 minutes for 4 mobs, and you have to play around it. Once you're in a pull, unless you're really trying to move things out, and I definitely see this being insanely useful on Sanguine weeks, where you know there's some mobs that are about to die in Sanguine, and you can heroic leap a short distance away and pull them out. There's some amazing things that you can do with this. I just don't feel that 1.5 minutes is... it's too much. Right? I agree that it should have a higher cooldown. Not going to disagree. 45 seconds for an effect like that is a little strong. A little bit too strong, especially it's only 4 mobs. If it was every mob in the pull, we could talk about 1.5 minutes, and that would be more okay. I would still like to see it reduced a little bit, but I could understand. But it being such a small mob number with 1.5 minutes, that is really not fun, and is going to end up being only useful in hyper niche scenarios and start taking the fun away out of heroic leap, where I think you could keep the mob number to 4 or 5 and keep it at 1 minute cooldown, where I think it would still be incredibly fun to take, not be as hyper niche, and you could really work around it and have a lot more fun. But I do agree with the higher cooldown. I just think that 1.5 minutes is too much. If it's going to be 1.5 minutes, it's going to have to be a lot more mobs, right? It doesn't have to be every mob, but it could go up to 7, 8, 9, 10, a much larger number in Mythic Plus that could work a lot better. So there are some absolutely crazy fun uses for this, and is a really, really fun ability. Another ability that I seen that I did take was Skull Banner is now available in the Protection Spec tree, which, all honesty, I love it. I love having banners. You know, I've been such a big fan of Necrolord this past season. Honestly, I just love the entire looks of Necrolord, and it's the best plate mog set in the game. Fight me over it, don't care, that's my personal opinion. But I love the idea of putting down a banner and buffing your party, right? Buffing yourself and your party and things like that. I think the range on Skull Banner is still a little weak. It should be a little bit higher, because it should be enough to reach range players. You know what I mean? Maybe make it a 30 or 40 yard, but whatever. It is really, really nice to have, and it's something that your Mythic Plus party can play around as well a little bit. Be like, okay, guys, no, don't blow your cooldowns just yet. Wait, we got 15 seconds on Skull Banner. I'll pop it right, and we'll just lust right then. And it's something that could really, really help out in a group scenario and be a lot of fun on a 3-minute cooldown. But I love the fact that Protection Warrior is getting that. Another thing that I noticed, and this was kind of surprising considering how much we've had to play around Reprisal this season just to get enough shield block to live. Shield block is not a problem for uptime right now. It is absolutely not a problem for uptime. Having access to bolster, heavy repercussions, 8-second shield block baseline, honestly, I always had it. Like, I just always had it. And once I started a pull and I hit that first button and I just kept going, it just, like, I'd see the cooldown, like, you know, duration left on it, 30, 40, 50 seconds. And it just feels so good for a change to not have to try so hard just to keep a mitigation up that you need to live. That's been a big problem with Prot Warrior all of Shadowlands, is the high density that you have to play around, high impact story that you have to play around Reprisal. Like, you do not have a choice. You need to charge weave, you need to intervene, or you're not going to have enough shield block and you're just going to die. And that has been a big problem with Prot Warrior, along with their self-sustain. Now, their self-sustain is much better. Having 10% leech baseline, getting easy access to Indom, Fueled by Violence, and Impending Victory. Again, Fueled by Violence is one of those things where on its own, you kind of look at it and you're like, that's weak. And it kind of is weak. But when you pair it with Indomitable, 10% leech, and that together, you're going to notice your health go up really, really fast. You know, you pop a defensive and boom, you could just, you know, you're at 60% health, you pop a defensive, and then all of a sudden you just see your health bar just... It might not be as instant as Blood DK, but that's fine. You don't need that. It is a good form of self-sustain that will promote proper play. And with how often that you get Demo Shout now, with Thunderlords being available easily in the Spectre, really, really good. You're always going to have that defensive for when you drop a little bit in a higher pull or whatever. You throw it a defensive, and then boom, done. It gets right back up there, and it's just so much fun to play. Guys, I cannot stress how hype and excited I am for Prot Warrior in Dragonflight. My only hopes are for next week's build, because they did say they're making changes to Prot Warrior next week's build, that they don't butcher it into the ground. Please don't. It feels so good to play. It feels like there's options and options to pick and that you can customize to make it for yourself. This is still a WoW community. There's still going to be a cookie cutter, hey, play this or you're bad build, but I don't think it's going to be as bad, right? Because if you play certain talents now, you're like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, right? You're just might as well be hobbling along on one leg because you shot yourself in the foot 3 times with 3 different talent choices that you shouldn't have taken. But now it feels like, okay, maybe I'm kind of, you know, shooting my pinky toe. And that's fine. If that's the worst that I'm doing by playing a different build, but it's still viable and fun, I'm okay with doing that, right? If it's not the complete optimal best, but it's still perfectly fine, great, let's go. That is such a good direction for Prot Warrior to go in. You know, and I can't stress the level of customizations that you can do with, like, Unstoppable Force if you would just want a big Thunderclaps, which, by the way, Thunderclap felt good. I don't know what it was on my damage meter, but I can tell you it felt good to press, and that's something I haven't felt all of Shadowlands. Because it's been a wet noodle, all of Shadowlands. You hit it for some rage and threat when you have nothing else to press. Like, really, that's all it is. But now it feels chonky again. It feels good. So you can choose to go more of a Thunderclap route, or you can, you know, choose to go with Thunderous Roar and really customize things how you want. The big gripe right now is still Shockwave. You can remove some of the power from Shockwave and just put it up the tree. Honestly, it's really not that broken. It's really not. If you think it's too broken the way that it is, increase the cooldown on it, a full stop on a minute or something instead of 45 seconds. And you can just remove the Thundering Earth and the attack power buff. I don't know. You can figure it out, or just put the attack power buff up above, but increase the cooldown on it for a full stop. But there's other full stops that you can do, right? There's other abilities. You have Intimidating Shout. You know, you're gonna have Stormbolt. You're gonna have Shield Charge if you want to spec into that. Another thing that felt really, really good was having 2 charges of Ravager. I'm not sure how necessary that's going to be, because with the bleed-based build that I was doing, I did not have a single problem with Rage. I know it's PTR, but I was never hitting Banner anyway. I literally took it off my bars for PTR, and I was literally never having a problem with Rage. Rage felt super good to get. Felt super fun to play with. I was playing with the higher Revenge as well, so it costs 30 Rage, but it does a lot more damage, and it's still with that, I was still having almost no issues Revenge spamming. There were times if I'd hit Ignore Pain, Shield Block, and Revenge at once, where I'd felt a little bit starved, but at the same time, I hit a Thunderclap, hit a Shield Slam, boom, I'm back up, and it's, at no point did it feel clunky enough where I'm like, oh, this feels bad, I have no rage. It was like, oh, I always have a button to press. I'm always going, and it's really, really fun. So that is it for now. Heroic Leap is going to be a lot of fun, and the Sanguine That has been one of the biggest gripes of Protection Warrior for me all expansion long, is we have nothing to deal with Sanguine, aside from insanely good kiting and luck. This is going to be able to fix that. You're going to be able to heroic leap just where you want the mobs to be out of Sanguine and pull them out. And I am so excited for this, and I really hope that it kind of stays at a reasonable level. Like, a minute and a half is too long, but I think a minute, even a minute 15, you know, you could do something like that. But I think a minute and a half is just too long, and not by much, right? You can keep the 4 targets, make it a minute, and you'd be perfectly fine, and it could be still super fun and very impactful, maybe in niche scenarios, but really, really fun. What do you guys think about Prot Warrior? Have you had a chance to play it in the PTR or the Bear? Have you been lucky enough to get the beta? Let me know. I would love to hear your opinions. Leave that down in the comment section below. And as we leave, I would like to thank all of my patrons. You know, can't do it with people like without you guys. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a good one, and happy tanking, guys.